So I finished watching the 10th episode of the third and final season of Star Wars The Bad Batch, the episode being Identity Crisis. Now, if you don't want to get spoiled, because I will be talking about spoilers, feel free to watch my spoiler-free review. It came out earlier today, and it'll be linked in the description and in the cards. But what did I think of this episode? Real short recap. It was a phenomenal episode. Yes, it was slow at times, but it was a good slow. It was a slow burn, really character study, and that character, spoilers, was Emery Carr. I predicted that this was either going to be an Omega episode or a CX2 episode. No, it was an Emery Carr episode, and I'm glad for it. It, in my opinion, makes this a much stronger episode, and she's the one who's having the identity crisis. It's not a full-on identity crisis like Panic Identity Crisis, but now the wheels, I think, are truly turning in her head, and she's wondering, like, is she doing the right thing? But let's actually just recap episode 1. The Bad Batch doesn't appear save for a single picture of Omega on a datapad. That's all we get. That's good in my opinion. Sure, it's about the Bad Batch, but this is affecting the Bad Batch. This is giving us, the audience, more information about what's going on with Project Necromancer, along the same time that Emery Carr is finding out about what's going on with Project Necromancer. Kids. So, if you remember way back in the Clone Wars, there was that episode arc where the bounty hunter Cad Bane was kidnapping children. Yeah, the Palpatine Emperor, he never stopped doing that, and he's still employing Cad Bane for that, which is just like, okay. Boba did a good service when he shot with Cad Bane way in the Book of Boba Fett. I just gotta say, that guy. But anyhow, let's not complain about Cad Bane too much, but I did like that little callback to the Clone Wars, how Cad Bane was the one doing it back then. Going back to what the story is actually about, Emery Carr is now basically in charge of Project Necromancer and maintaining the specimens as Dr. Hemlock calls them, the kids. And you can tell Emery Carr is disturbed, unsettled by the fact that the specimens are kids. She's like, why aren't they adults? And it has to do with M counts. They have high M counts. Going back to the episode in Clone Wars where Cad Bane was kidnapping Force-sensitive children, which he's still doing for the Empire. But you can tell, like I said, is unsettled by this. She even goes to Nasa to ask her some questions about Project Necromancer. And you can tell there's some resentment there. And I think that resentment might connect back to Omega, because Emery has this line about being, abandoned, cast aside, something along those lines. And that almost makes me think, could Emery have been Nasa's original lab assistant before Omega came along? And while it seems like Emery's not holding any resentment towards Omega, she is holding resentment towards Nasa about all that. Hard to say for sure. But Emery does get to know one of the kids a little more than the other. The one who's most social. There's one who tries to escape, one who's not as social. The one who tries to escape is put in solitary confinement for 2 days. Just totally reasonable punishment. By the way, solitary confinement is terrible even for adults beyond 24 hours. 48 is pushing it for adults. So yeah. Definitely very bad that you're putting a kid in solitary confinement, Empire. But you can tell, Emery has some care for these kids, because, well, she's still figuring this all out on herself, but she does have some care. Like, she thinks that Scourge used too much force when the one kid tried to escape. And a few other things as well. Like, you can tell, she has some care. And there's a scene back in one of the other labs, the one with actually testing the blood samples, where she opens a drawer and Omega's lunchbox is still there with the doll that Omega had made out of straw. Well, she gives that doll to the one kid that she had talked with the most. Partially, I think, to kind of regain some trust, but I think as an apology more than anything else for lying about the other kid not being punched. No, yes, Emery didn't know that, but she could have inquired, probably looked on her datapad, but she's thinking, the kid's not going to punch them too severely. And I think this is all why she's the titular character and why she's having an identity crisis, why she's now wondering, is she actually doing the right thing? Way back when I talked about episodes 1 and 3, which, by the way, episode 1, you can see why this episode reminded me. Little slower and all that, we're just seeing the daily life of somebody at this facility at Mount Tantis. But there's so many great pillars and all that, but the thing is, I had talked about in those reviews, regarding small acts of defiance. Omega had them, helping Batcher heal injuries and asking to investigate, but also letting Batcher go into the wild so she had a chance to survive rather than being euthanized by the Empire. Narase doing everything she can to protect Omega, including discarding Omega's blood samples. Then we also have those are the two main examples, but Emery also showed a little bit of defiance by giving Omega her straw doll back. And she shows defiance again in this episode by giving that straw doll to one of the kids. She's on the path of defiance of resisting, rebelling against the Empire. She's not quite there yet. She's in the crisis stage, the identity crisis, figuring out who she is and perhaps what she should actually be doing. And there's a few other scenes too. I have mentioned Cad Bane collecting Force sensitive kids for the Empire as a part of Project Necromancer, like he was doing back in the Clone Wars. But there's other things as well regarding interesting stuff. CX2 is contacted by Dr. Hemlock for a progress update. And one was mixing there's other Clone X assassins, but the first two that we saw were fully, like the prototypes fully complete. And this one, he was actually activated early. His training was not complete. I'm starting to think, because his brothers or others of him, like him, are mentioned and not ready. So it makes me think he got activated early. And that could be why he is different than the other two we've seen, because this one was activated early. Kind of interesting. I thought he was actually going to have the clone assassin try to kill Tarkin after Tarkin threatened to pull funding. Yeah, that funding thing. Tarkin really wants the funding for the Death Star. It's unspoken, but come on. He also challenged Thrawn about funding between the Death Star and the TIE Defender, so of course it's funding involved. Imperial politics at work. But I just wanted to throw that out. But I do think, while we got nothing about CX2 like I predicted, we got a tiny bit, and what we did learn is I think he was activated early. I would love to hear your thoughts on Identity Crisis in the comment section down below, and I will be talking about the next episode, Point of No Return, shortly. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. You can also stay up to date on my content by following me on social media. I have a link tree down in the description which has all my social media links on it. Additionally, if you would like to support the channel, you can become a channel member and get early access to all my videos. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.